Brooklyn. I've heard of that place. As the daughter of Jamaican immigrant parents, she attended Oberlin College. She returned to New York to work as a child care specialist, legislative staffer, and economic development officer in the Bronx. You spent time, huh? Prior to being elected in 2001 to represent the 40th district in the New York City Council. She succeeded her mother, and everybody knows the pioneering councilwoman, Una Clark. Let's give it up for Una as well, right? Talk about a role model. She won election to the U.S. House of Representatives in 2006. She's now in her 6th term representing Brooklyn's 9th district. And I would assume many of the neighborhoods that Chewich isn't represented in your district, right? Yeah. Well, in the House of Representatives, she plays a very, very important leadership role, not just for New York City, New York State, but really for the entire country. She serves on the Energy and Commerce Committee, the Small Business Committee. I know from some of our work together in the past, you have been very supportive of the entrepreneurs in your district and in New York City, and the Committee on Ethics. Lord knows we need more help there, right? Serves as co-chair of the Congress's Caribbean Caucus and the Black Women and Girls Caucus, among many other priorities. She is one of 20 women of color in the 435-member House of Representatives. Now, I didn't see it, so I know what I've heard, though, Congresswoman, that during the session hearings that Senator Kamala Harris was not treated with the kind of respect that was afforded to the other members. So it really, I think, underscores the important leadership role that you're playing, not only as a representative, but a woman of color in a leadership role, and a strong person. I know you are strong. You can handle those guys down there. I know you can. Congresswoman Clark is known and admired for her devotion to justice and her determination to build a more equitable and prosperous future for all of us. So Congresswoman Clark, it was really with a profound sense of admiration. I've watched you for a long time. I've gotten to know you since I've been state controller. Thank you for your outstanding achievements, and I join with everyone here, all the people of our city and state, in thanking you, especially now. You know, we're also discouraged about what's happening down in Washington. And knowing you're there, it gives us hope, it gives us inspiration. So stay strong, keep doing what you're doing.
To Comptroller DiNapoli's, State Controller for the State of New York, to President Thompson, President of the Metropolitan College of New York, to Dean Crockendale from the Metropolitan College of New York, to my colleague, the Honorable Michael Solange, to our Master of Ceremonies, G.K. Williams, to our friends at CSA, and other friends in labor, to the members of the NYPD, to all of the other very distinguished honorees, ladies and gentlemen, friends all, many of whom I've known for quite some time, who are gathered here. A pleasant good evening to everyone. It's my honor and my privilege to come and be a recipient of this honor. It's wonderful when you're honored by others within your profession. It gives you some sense of a baseline that you're holding your own. So I truly appreciate you taking this time to recognize me. And my staff is here with me, Patrick Rayum, and he prepared these wonderful remarks. And I'm going to depart from them just a little bit because a lot of what I wanted to say has been said in terms of the contributions of Caribbean Americans in the United States of America. I believe there were probably Caribbean Americans at the founding of this nation, and you know, we're the hidden figures. And we've been hidden figures for generations. It wasn't until fairly recently, quite frankly, and a lot of people don't recognize this, but with the passing of the civil rights legislation in the United States of America, there was a companion bill that also opened up immigration to the United States to people of color, to Caribbean Americans and immigrants of color in particular, because for a long time there was a quota on the numbers of individuals that could immigrate from nations like the ones that we come from. And it wasn't until the naturalization law that was passed that that bar was lifted. And so my parents came to the United States in the 1950s. And my mom often talks about, as a foreign student, how she would use her British passport to travel down to the South for the Civil Rights Movement. She talks about how when they would get stopped, she'd be the first, they push her up front, and they'd say to her, oh, this one here has a pass from the Queen. And that's how they would kind of get through some of the sketchier times, because, you know, they didn't want a diplomatic issue because they were messing with the Queen's subject, right? That's just to give us a sense. I'm putting things in context because I think it's very important. For a long time, people of African descent in particular were looked at monolithically. So everybody was black. And the idea that there were people with different backgrounds, ethnicities, that there was a region, quite frankly, right next to the United States of America, where all of these people lived, many of whom spoke English, was something that was not a part of the lexicon or the consciousness of this nation. And so fast forward, it was in 1991 that the New York City Council elected the first foreign-born woman to the New York City Council. And she just happened to be a Jamaican. She happened to be my mom. And I think about just the time span. And I mention her because when she ran for office, she said she was Caribbean American. And it rattled a lot of people when she said that. What are you segregating yourself? What are you separating yourself? That was the big question. It was a major question during that time. And it was just a declaration of being. It was a declaration of the fact that we are not a monolithic people. And I don't think any people really are. But when we look at people myopically, we miss out on the richness. We miss out on the depth of experience and culture and values that people bring with them that make America so strong. We can talk to the world. We can speak to the world. And that is one of the things that this nation is missing out on right now, because of the way in which we're allowing certain voices to be anti-immigrant. We're now third generation, and for many who come to the United States, their children are not going to necessarily speak with the accent. We morph. So becoming American is almost automatic for people who come from our region. It's a blend. It's a blend. And I wanted to say that to you because this week was particularly traumatic in Washington, D.C. And when I think about those members of Congress practicing baseball and an assailant coming to basically take them out, and the two individuals who happened to be there were two black Capitol Police officers. One female and one male. And with all of the madness and craziness and talking really bad about people going on in Washington, it was those two individuals who were trained, who were focused, who weren't caught up in the rhetoric that dehumanized them on a regular basis, that said, I'm gonna put my life on the line, just like your son did. And so that's as American as it gets. And I also think about the fact that in that moment, in these moments, that's when we are able to say we're all human beings. And we can celebrate human life. And we can say we're all Americans. But we can celebrate our diversity in a rich and bold way. So to me, this evening celebrates us as Caribbean Americans. And that is extremely meaningful to me. I remember very vividly, I was that kid they shipped down with the barrel every summer, every break from school. You know that cousin that always showed up from America with all the mosquito bites? That was me. They would ship me straight into the country. I'm talking farmland, sugarcane. My grandfather was a sugarcane farmer. So I've had the experience. I am steeped in a culture, a rich one. But it's the values that my parents brought to this nation with them. Values of education, values of focus, values on working hard, values of respecting every human being, irregardless and irrespective of where they're coming from. Being humble, remembering that it wasn't that long ago that they were on a farm and that their parents didn't have a proper education, but saved up everything they could to make sure that the next generation would do 10 times better. And that's the value that is American as well. Because there's not an immigrant community that has not come here with those dreams. It's when people decide that they're going to become superior in their heads to others and work to dehumanize others that it all breaks down. So I want to encourage everyone. I'm in Washington, D.C. fighting each and every week because I believe in America. I know it works. I'm proof positive. It works because there was a community that accepted my parents, their values, and my mother and father welcomed all of our neighbors. Every wave of immigrant that came into our community because they knew what it was. They had to navigate. They didn't have a map. They didn't understand everything, but they learned it and they taught it to others. And then they served others. And then they taught my brother and I to serve others. And so I want to thank you, Comptroller DiNapoli's, for this recognition this evening. I hope that something I've said this evening encourages you during this time. Because we come from a strong stock of people, first of all. When you leave everything you know to come to another place, to start over again, to raise your children with the value and the consciousness of where they've come from, and you're able to pass that on from generation to generation while helping to build another nation, then you're super bad. Thank you.